Hi, I'm Laura Henry, and I am a craft dabbler, and I'm also an independent, close to my heart demonstrator. But today I'm not going to be using close to my heart products, but I am going to be using the Cricut. I'm going to be putting my grandson's name on his baseball helmet so that he doesn't get his mixed up with the other kids. We're going to be using my Cricut, Design Space, and vinyl. Let's begin. First off, I'm going to open up the Cricut or the Design Space program online, and then I've already been logged in, so it's already open. But I'm going to select Images, and then up in the right hand corner, I'm going to select Cartridges, and then I'm going to type in baseball. Now I could have gone to Images and typed in baseball and I would have gotten some baseball images, but I know that I own the cartridge and I'm pretty sure I've seen what I'm looking for in that cartridge. So I'm just typing in baseball now, and then I hit enter and it searches for that cartridge, and it takes it just a little while to bring it in. And so now I'm going to select view all images, and so that says there's 53 images, and so I'm going to just scroll through here, and I'm looking for kind of a swirly that shape there to go under his name, and there's the one with the circle and the swirl, and that's two images, and I'm going to get rid of the circle and just use that swirl. And so I'm going to say insert images, and that puts it back on my Design Space mat, and that I'm going to edit here in a minute. But first I'm going to go over to text on the left hand side, and I'm going to type in Grant's name. And so once I type that in, it comes in like the standard, I don't know if that's a Cricut font or something, but I'm going to change that. So I go up to the upper left side where the fonts are, and I select that, and it opens up and you can scroll through the list of fonts. I've already done this week as to plan it out, and so I know what fonts I'm going to choose, and I choose 4 just to show you some of the different ones. But I'm looking for a print font because my grandson is 6 and I don't think they really would use cursive much. But I do want that swirly lettering for the G. So I'm looking through, and the first one I found was Candace regular font. And as soon as I find out, I'm going to open that up, and it'll transform that to that other font. Then I'm going to go and look for some more fonts. So I go over and I type in Grant's name. I forgot to capitalize the G, so I think I go back. I just hit the backspace arrow or backspace button, and then I typed it in right. And you'll notice there it comes back in that same font as before. So if you're working on a scrapbook project or something, or a card, and you want 2 phrases but you want them in the same font, you can type in the one and then go back and hit that text button again, and it will type your next thing out in the same font, which is extremely helpful. So now I'm back in the menu of fonts again, looking for the next font, and the next one actually is a close to my heart font. That one is from the art booking cartridge, and I really liked this font a lot. It's got that swirl to it, yet it's print. But I gave my daughter and son-in-law the option for the fonts, and they chose that top one, which really is a pretty good baseball-y looking font. So now I've typed in his name again, and now I'm going back to the font menu, and the third one that I found is Paper Lace 2. So I'm just going through and looking, and you can see how many fonts there are here, and each font in Cricut, they have that phrase there has all of the letters of the alphabet, plus they have all the numbers there, so you can really get a feel for what the font is going to look like in any certain letter. So not all of these cartridges are just here for free. Some of them are ones that I've purchased that came with cartridges, and some of them are part of the Access package that you can purchase through Cricut. And the one that I get is $99 for a full year, but I do believe they have a monthly subscription that's available. And with that, you get many, many, many um, images and fonts that come with that access. But even if you didn't have access and you never bought any cartridges, there are some free items that come with your Cricut design space. There are the basic shapes and some basic fonts that just come with the Cricut. And then on Fridays they have some free images that's different every Friday. So there really is a lot you can do without spending a lot of money on it. Also, one of the things I like about Close to My Heart is that they sell Cricut cartridges, and I get some fonts with that too. So there's the third grant there, and I'm typing in grant again, and I'm going to go back after that fourth one. And the fourth font that I found that I liked is called Stilla Regular Font. So I'm just looking back through. Now when you leave and you go back into that font menu, it goes back where it left off. So I don't have to go to the very beginning of the whole listing of all the fonts and then go through them all. It kind of picks up where it left off. And I find that extremely handy. So I'm just scrolling down through here and I'm trying to find that font that I had found before. And it just takes me a little bit to get through them all. And there it is. Okay, so like I said, I gave my son-in-law and daughter the option and they chose that top one. So I decide now that I'm going to get rid of the other ones that I don't want. So I started to delete them by selecting them, and then I just moved the one I wanted out of the way. Then I went over and selected it. Now I'm going to hit the red X and that just gets rid of it. But then I decided to show you that there's another way to do it. If you go over and select that eye in the right hand side, it turns it off. It's still there and it's available. It's just where you can't see it anymore, and it won't cut it or print it when you have the eye off. So I went back and hit that back button, and I brought back those other two fonts that I had previously deleted. So it really wasn't gone forever. I just hit the back button. Now if I saved it and exited out, they'd be gone. But I just hit the back button, brought them back, and then I hid them. Then I went over and I chose that the circle with the swirl, and then I detached them, and then I X'd out that circle part because I don't really want it. I just want that swirl part at the bottom. So now I just was moving the grant's name up towards the top, and I think here is where I tried to move them closer together but they just weren't proportioned right. So I hit that advanced button and it separates out all of the letters. Then I selected each letter and then used my arrow keys to nudge them closer to one another. Once I had the letters spaced the way I wanted them, I selected all of them and then I grouped them. Now I'm moving that swirl up closer to it, and I'm going to be attaching it or welding it to it. But right now I'm just resizing it and I'm moving it and getting it, the right size and at the right angle. And so I'm just using the little toggle and the arrows on that box. Now at the bottom of the screen there's a plus and minus, and you can make your screen bigger. It doesn't change the actual size of your fonts or anything, but it just makes it look bigger so you can zoom in closer and you can see your image better. There I'm showing you how you can change the colors of things, and there's two ways to change colors. There I'm syncing them, and I drug that red swirl up into the black so that it matched. Or you can go in where those circles are on the right side and you can select that circle, and then it'll go into the color wheel thing, and then you can select what color you want. And then I put a box around all of it and I grouped it together, and I also welded it. The G and the T, I wanted them to be attached to that swirly part, and then I wasn't sure if they would all cut in that order, so I went ahead and grouped them, or selected them, and then I hit the attach button, but it really wasn't even an option. So I know it's gonna be fine. It's not gonna cut them out of order or try to make the most of the mat and take them out of order. So there it is on the mat. When I said make it, I selected the little green button on the right side that said make it. And there it is. Now for a minute there, I got kind of confused and I hit the mirror image because I was thinking I needed to reverse it, but that's just for iron-ons. So this is not an iron-on, but I went back because I also got to thinking, I'm not sure this is the right size. So at this point, I went back over to the helmet and I grabbed a ruler and I'm measuring that helmet right now. And I need it to be about 3 inches. So there I selected the name and I go up to the top where the measurements are and I just selected that and I typed in 3 and hit enter and it resized it. But then I thought I would show you that also, so I went back and resized it. There you can resize it just pulling those arrows on that bounding box. And I couldn't really get it precisely at 3, so I eventually went back up and typed in 3 and hit enter. And so then I'm going to say make it again, and that's going to send it to my Cricut. So next, it's on the Cricut and it's up in the upper left hand corner. I'm not going to mirror image it, but now I'm going to go to my workspace and I'm going to get a piece of vinyl that's going to fit in that corner, and I'm going to cut a little piece and adhere it down to a Cricut mat. And it's just going to be, there we are. So there's my white vinyl and I just cut a little piece off of the roll, and it comes in a roll and it's like a sticky piece of, it's sticky back to vinyl, and then it's on a little like a backing sheet, and you just want to keep those together but stick it onto your mat. And so I took it over to my Cricut and I'm going to slide it under those little feed dog things on the right and the left side, and then I hit that arrow button and it loads the mat in for me. You see the big dial, I have that pointing towards vinyl so that the Cricut knows the depth and the pressure that it needs to cut through the vinyl just perfectly. So once I've done that, I go back over to my computer and I tell it to cut. And it takes it a while to think about what it wants to do, and it's like it's communicating wirelessly to with my Cricut, and it just takes it a minute. And you see that button's blinking, so then I push it, and it has the little Cricut icon, and that's telling me it's ready to cut. So it's just moving around and that blade's gonna cut it, and it just takes a minute. It's not a very big word that we're cutting out. And when it's done, it'll let me know, and I think the arrow button is going to blink when it's done. Okay, there it's blinking. So then I push the button and it unfeeds it, or brings it out, and I'm going to take it back over to my workspace. And no, you're not seeing double. I have 2 of those close to my heart mats, and I just stuck them side by side. That's the like picking tool that I got with my very first Cricut, and I'm going to try to take that vinyl off, but then I realize it's really kind of too big of a piece for the word, and I don't want to end up having it stick to the word, so I decided to trim it. So I'm trimming through both layers, the vinyl and the backing sheet that the vinyl comes on, and I'm just going to stick it down to the middle, and it's just going to stick on there while I peel that off. And this is called weeding. So we're getting rid of the parts that we don't want, like the background parts be around the word that we've cut out. Also, I'm going to be getting rid of the insides of the letters, like on the G, the inside of the G and the inside of the A. And I ripped part of that vinyl. I'm getting it off, so I'm going to go back and get some of that off of there too. It didn't rip the word, it ripped that backing part that I don't want. So you see I'm just kind of peeling it against itself, and I'm being very, very careful not to touch that vinyl scrap part to the good vinyl, because it once it sticks, it's really stuck, and if it does, you just pretty much have to recut it. So now I'm in there just getting those fine pieces and that little piece that tore and the little piece of the G and the little piece from the A, and scraping that out. That's the little picker tool. Did I mention I call that my dental tool? Because it really does look like a dental tool. Okay, so now I'm getting that's that's not contact paper, that's actually the Cricut paper, and a transfer paper, that's what it's called. And so I'm just cutting it down to size. And what that is also a piece of backer paper, and then it has a sticky piece of paper on it. And so what we're doing is adhering the sticky piece onto the front side of our letters, and then we'll peel off the back of the vinyl, or that backer piece, and then it'll be exposing the sticky part of it, and then we'll be able to stick that on to the helmet. So now I'm going to use the back of that picking tool, or dental tool that I call it, and I'm burnishing it really good so that it sticks onto that transfer paper, or transfer tape. I'm not really exactly sure what that's called. Now I can get rid of my mat, and I'm just going to flip it over, and I'm going to peel it back against itself almost flat. You see how I roll it with my fingertips? And now I'm showing you just how sticky that is. And so now that's ready to go. So now I'm grabbing the helmet, and I've already kind of cleaned that off. I used a baby wipe, and I wiped off that helmet on the back so that it would be clean. And I wanted it to be dry, so that was actually the very first thing I did. And so now I'm going to try to line it up, and you can see through this transfer paper. Now, if you buy contact paper, it's clear, and you can see right through it, and you know exactly where you're placing it, and you can get that at the Dollar Tree. So I peeled it off because I wasn't sure it was exactly straight, and the swirl is kind of on an angle, so it kind of throws it off and makes it look a little wonky. And then my paper's not exactly straight, so I was just really trying to see how straight that was. And I finally decided I liked it that way. So now I'm using the back side of that dental tool again, or that pick, and I am burnishing that really good. And I am pressing very, very hard, and I am going over every little bit of where that vinyl is underneath. And I just really want that to stick well. So that paper that's on top, that's in between my tool and the word, it's sticky, but it's not as sticky as the vinyl. So now I am folding it back against itself again, and I'm using my fingertips to just walk it back. And if any of it were to be coming up with the tape, I would just lay it back over it, burnish it some more, and then pull it back again. And I would keep doing that until it was stuck on. But I got it all in one shot this time. So there you have it. There's Grant's name on his helmet, and now he won't get his helmet mixed up with the other kids. So that's the Close to My Heart catalog. That's the new seasonal expressions, and it's only good through the end of December, and it's got some holiday and fall stamps in it. But in the back of it, it shows the stamps of the month sets, and that's the September stamp of the month. For every $50 that you spend, you get that stamp set for $5. You could also pay full price for that stamp set, but if you want to receive it at a discounted price, you just need to spend $50. Please visit my website if you're interested in Close to My Heart. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for joining me.